next news. Breaking news from the White House.
An on-air leftist looked into a camera and said illegal aliens are not people who are putting us in any jeopardy. And that it's Donald Trump who's putting us in jeopardy. Then almost instantly, DHS blew that lie to pieces. The alleged ringleader in the UFC Freedom 250 terror plot at the White House was Abraham Hermosillo Alvarez, an illegal alien from Mexico who got to stay under Obama-era DACA. Not a paperwork glitch, not a misunderstanding. Investigators say this crew planned explosive drones, a mass evacuations, victims funneled towards snipers, and then a rush onto the White House gates. And that quote is the receipt, and Democrats own it. See, the story matters because the open borders machine did not just flood the country with chaos. It put the seat of American government and American families in the kill zone. DHS spelled it out with brutal clarity. Alvarez should never have been allowed in our country. And DHS named him the ringleader of a failed terror attack targeting UFC Freedom at the White House. And there it is. Barack Obama's amnesty pipeline did not produce compassion. It protected a man federal authorities tied to a staged mass casualty plot. And the plan was not random madness. Investigators uncovered a sequence. Explosive drones first, then the mass evacuation, then victims pushed towards snipers, and then a storming of the gates of the White House. That is war planning on American soil, yet MSNBC-style mouthpieces spent years torching border enforcement while smearing Donald Trump as the danger. They lied. They laundered the lie. They weaponized that lie against every parent, every cop, every citizen who demanded a border. Well, Trump, he shut the scam down. The former Obama-Biden border cult, they built it. And when the political class trashes the truth this hard, I pay even closer attention to solutions that deliver results in the real world. You've probably seen the clip, Joe Rogan sitting with Mel Gibson, talking about people close to him who went through serious health struggles and then saw dramatic turnarounds. Rogan brings up red light-based therapies and how they impact the body at a cellular level. And Gibson just says it straight, the stuff works. And that got my attention. In my own home, I watched something similar. My wife dealt with constant discomfort and anxiety, and it wore her down. Then we found red light therapy through Jonathan Otto, and it made a difference that we could actually feel. If you want to check it out, go to myredlight.com, use NNN25 for individual items or NNN30 for bundles. In a country drowning in fake promises, I respect tools that help real families fight back and feel stronger again. Take a look for yourself at myredlight.com because strength at home matters when everything outside the home feels under siege. Now back to the part the corporate press wants buried. The sickest detail was not just the drones, it was the funnel investigators say the attack aimed to trigger. Panic, force mass evacuation, and drive human beings towards snipers before a charge at the White House gates. That's not a border debate. That is an imported threat infrastructure. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to pull up the posts and the tweets, and I'm going to let the entire country see exactly who sold this poison and who cleaned up the mess. MS Now guest, this is from townhall.com. Undocumented immigrants are not people who are putting us in jeopardy. It's Donald Trump. A few moments later.
Just trying to escape persecution, build a better life for themselves. If they're guilty of anything, it's that they fled economic misery and poverty instead of torture and war. They are not people who are putting us in any jeopardy. It's Donald Trump who's putting us in jeopardy.
News alert, DHS confirming the suspected ringleader accused in a plot to carry out a mass casualty attack at the UFC event at the White House on Sunday is an illegal immigrant.
A federal investigation into Sunday's alleged terror plot on the UFC South Lawn event remains ongoing. Investigators looking into how this transpired, what was planned, as well as believing that many as 20 people may have been involved. Our colleagues over at Fox Digital report the alleged ringleader of this incident, Abraham Alvarez, was in the country illegally from Mexico, but also may have been granted DACA status, allowed to stay back in the Obama administration. He was arrested back in Omaha, Nebraska, and we expect to learn more about his background as the head of the UFC says security was certainly top of mind.
How's that for a split screen? There it is. The media said illegal immigrants weren't the threat, and then DHS ties the White House UFC terror plot to a DACA recipient from Mexico. Now, the operational details, the ringleader of the White House UFC Freedom 250 explosive drone terror plot is a Mexican illegal alien. a violent invader who was granted status under Obama.
Used in an alleged terror plot against the UFC Freedom 250 event at the White House is due in court today.
Alexandria Hoff joins us now with the details from Washington. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning. And hey, listen, there are 5 suspects behind bars in this, but authorities say that they're looking for more people due to the group chat they uncovered having 23 members in it. Today, 32-year-old Daniel Eskridge is set to appear before a judge today on conspiracy charges. Court documents state that Eskridge posted to that Signal chat the plan was to wage war on an illegitimate government. The men arrested in the plot also include a 19-year-old from Ohio, a 24-year-old and 32-year-old, both from California, and a 31-year-old from Nebraska. Now, this terror was set to unfold in stages. We've learned this attack by explosives raining down. That would be the first thing. They would come down from drones at or near the UFC event at the White House Sunday, which would then force a mass evacuation, at which time attackers would storm the White House gate and snipers target administration officials, other high-valued individuals. UFC President Dana White is praising the FBI for their action in foiling this plot. They say that he says that there were additional threats made on that event. Listen.
Did you have any idea that this was happening? Somebody was apparently planning to do something horrible on Sunday.
Yeah, there was more than that. There was more than that.
It was more than that. So you saw how sick the plot allegedly was, with attackers trying to turn panic into a kill zone. Next, House Republicans put the ringleader front and center and remind Americans exactly what Obama's amnesty machine produced. Take a hard look at this arrogant grin, America. Look at this guy. That's his mugshot. This is the face of an illegal alien who came here as a child, got special Obama amnesty in 2014, and repaid America by leading a terror plot against the White House during UFC Freedom 250. Next time you hear Democrats preach about compassion for illegals, remember this mug shot and the smug terrorist smiling. The same man who wanted to turn a celebration of freedom into a bloodbath on the White House lawn. So the mug shot's the answer to every left-wing sermon about compassion without consequences. Meanwhile, while the left smears ICE as villains, watch what one ICE officer did when a child was drowning in Florida. While the left screams defund ICE and calls them Nazi, this ICE officer jumped into a Florida pool to save a drowning kid. Officer Gregory Simmons. Wow. Oh. So, after all the anti-ICE propaganda, this footage shows the truth. An officer jumped in without hesitation. Up next, you'll hear Gregory Simmons himself describe the split-second decision that saved a 6-year-old child's life.
Were there to do this at the time that you did. Walk us through what took place in real time.
Yes, thank you for having me. Basically, I was just at my son's soccer end of the year soccer party. What prompted me to go near the pool, I saw a pool attendant there. He was kind of pointing at something in the pool. I thought he was maybe pointing at my son and his friends, so I walked over to the pool. I immediately noticed something was wrong. There was kind of like a sixth sense going on. There was one of my son's teammates was right next to the child, so I had him, hey, can you go touch that kid? And when the child touched him, immediately I knew something was wrong. I jumped into the pool, swam over as quick as I could. When I picked up the kid, his body condition at that time, I knew immediately that this kid's going to need some sort of CPR.
Oh my gosh. So you performed that CPR, Gregory, and then thankfully the child regained consciousness. How did you feel when he took his first breath?
I was absolutely relieved. I was at the right place at the right time. I'm just glad this kid gets have a second chance at life. It was absolutely. Truly remarkable.
Gregory, did you talk to his parents at all? What did they say to you?
Yes, I didn't talk to the parents immediately after, because when EMS services came, they kind of took the parent and child away. But yeah, I did speak with the parent. She had some really emotional text message that she provided for me. Wow.
And
she was just
this
happy
little boy's
that
going to be okay.
So he acted on instinct gave the boy a second chance, which is more than the open border crowds ever gives law-abiding citizens. Now look overseas, where Europe is moving towards swift removals instead of endless excuses. Just in, the EU Parliament votes to advance the Re-Migration Act, allowing swift removal of immigrants. So Europe isn't whispering anymore, it's voting to send illegal migrants back, and the reaction inside the chamber says it all, with chants breaking out as the deportation push advances. Wow, talk about President Trump's influence on the world stage. So the chants weren't subtle. They reflect the public fed up with leaders putting foreigners ahead of citizens. Back at home, ICE in Dallas just tracked down an 18th Street gang member wanted for multiple homicides after Sanctuary, Minnesota let him slip away. ICE Dallas arrested Salvadorian fugitive, U.S. fugitive, 18th Street gang member Jose Mauricio Carrillo Mendoza in a targeted immigration enforcement operation June 2nd. The criminal illegal alien was wanted in his home country of El Salvador for multiple homicide charges. Also wanted for felony domestic assault in Sanctuary State, Minnesota, after they released him pending trial. Big surprise, he didn't stick around. The fugitive initially answered the door for a fugitive operations officer before slamming it closed and retreating. Our Dallas Special Response Team insisted and took him into custody. With a 2009 final removal order, multiple prior removals, and a laundry list of previous U.S. arrests, he now faces felony illegal reentry charges before his next and final deportation, thanks to POTUS closed borders. Watch. Here's the raid itself.
Open the door! Abre la puerta! Hey, hands up! Hey! With the warrant! Police! Come on, police! Hold
Logramos, Señor, y la gloria.
A ver, ponte de pie.
Bye-bye. So the rest is exactly what real enforcement looks like. Targeted, aggressive, and overdue. Next, the FBI rolls out Operation Summer Heat 2.0. Roughly 500 agents moving on a violent D.C. crew tied to drugs, guns, and homicides. Today's forecast calls for coordinated enforcement, and our partners delivered. Approximately 500 FBI agents and law enforcement officers worked together this morning to dismantle a violent crew responsible for trafficking drugs and guns in the district. Today's arrests and searches were part of Operation Summer Heat 2.0, a nationwide initiative targeting violent criminals.
Cox, I'm the Assistant Director in charge of the FBI's Washington Field Office. It's early in the morning, and behind me you'll see the FBI SWAT team as they prepare, along with our partners from DEA and the Metropolitan Police Department, along with approximately 500 other agents and law enforcement officers, are going to be executing 20 search warrants and 17 arrest warrants this morning. These arrests and search warrants are on members of the 4th Street Southeast crew. They deal narcotics, they traffic in firearms, they have also been connected to homicides, robberies, and carjackings in the area. The FBI, in conjunction with our partners, are working this investigation as part of the DC Safe and Beautiful initiative and also our Homeland Security Task Force initiative to keep DC safe from these individuals who terrorize our community.
So here's the moral verdict, and it lands hard because the names are right there in front of us. Barack Obama's 2014 DACA machinery helped keep Abraham Alvarez in this country. Democrat politicians spent years screaming for more loopholes, more releases, more sanctuary protection. Media hacks barked that Trump was the threat. Then DHS identified an illegal alien from Mexico as the ringleader in a terror plot aimed at UFC Freedom 250 on White House grounds. Explosive drones, mass evacuation, victims pushed towards snipers, gates rushed. No decent American needs a seminar after that. The open borders crowd did not miscalculate. They endangered this country on purpose, then slandered everyone who fought back. Trump called it. Trump moved. And because Trump moved, the plot failed instead of ending in a slaughter on the South Lawn. So here is the line in the sand. Every Democrat, every network booker, every open borders activist who sold the country that illegal entry brings no danger owns a piece of this disgrace. They owe answers for the Obama DACA pipeline. They owe answers for sanctuary releases like Jose Mendoza, the 18th Street gang member wanted for multiple homicides and felony domestic assault after Minnesota cut him loose. And they owe an apology to the ICE officers they smeared as monsters while Gregory Simmons dove into a Florida pool and saved a 6-year-old life. Meanwhile, the Trump administration keeps doing the job. ICE hunts fugitives. Federal agents hammer violent crews. Europe is finally copying the enforcement first line with remigration because reality beats ideology every single time. So share this segment with people who still repeat the old propaganda quote. And put that quote beside Abraham Alvarez's name and let them choke on the contrast because the receipt is in plain view. I want to make sure you stay connected with the Next News Network. I set up this telephone number so that you and I can maintain connectivity when the notifications do not arrive. I want to make sure you get the news that we produce here. We spend a lot of time on it. We do it for you. So text raw feed to 844-840-4963 and then check out the Next News merch shelf below this video and celebrate America 250 with us by going to shop.nextnewsnetwork.com.
The system controls information. Information control is power. They don't want you to see this. The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now. You know out.